Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Fani Willis's response to Mark Meadows' efforts to remove his case to federal court. So this is, in another tape today, I talked about Meadows' attempt to put everything on hold. This is the actual motion, which he interestingly filed one day after the indictment. He had 30 days to do it, as does Trump. And Trump, at least you would think, is squeezing out every day. But Meadows, no, he was really primed to say, I belong in federal court. So we've talked about this a little because it's not as clear a case against. It's not as weak a case as Trump himself has. Trump, as other courts have already ruled, is not acting within the scope of his duties, even the outer perimeter, as the law says, when he's, fomenting a coup and revving everyone up and essentially trying to steal the election. Meadows has said, oh, but I'm different. I was the chief of staff and I was just doing chief of staffy things, setting up meetings and taking conference calls and the like. And it becomes a kind of tricky question. How are you going to characterize his conduct? As setting up phone calls or as fomenting a coup? And there's going to be an evidentiary hearing on this on Monday. And that itself's very interesting. We'll definitely be coming to talk to you about that, because evidentiary hearing, that means Meadows needs to put on evidence. Where's that evidence going to come from? Most obvious source, Mark Meadows. But anything he says can be used against him, and he can refuse to. He has a Fifth Amendment privilege, but it's in some tension with his desire to try to show what he was doing, be subject to cross-examination, and prove that he deserves to be in federal court. All right, so Fani Willis had a very artful, I thought, 15-page response to this that was filed in federal court. First, she made all the points that people have been making generally when they you say set up conference call, I say foment coup. It's really almost a kind of a word puzzle. But she made a very clever additional point. There is in federal law something called the Hatch Act, and it is meant to keep federal employees from using their federal time on the job to work on political campaigns. It's a really strict and important law. Trump's administration violated it and flouted it all the time. But I can tell you, when I was at the Department of Justice, people who wanted to work on campaigns, they had to take leave. But more than that, if they had people who work for, say, members of Congress running for president, there has to be a whole separate office. And anytime they're making a call for anything having to do with campaign, they have to do it not on federal premises. They have to mark it down. It's a really carefully enforced law, and the idea makes sense, right? I don't care if your boss is running for president. You work for the people of the United States, and while you're doing that, this is not about running a campaign. Well, Mark Meadows, even by his own characterization of just doing chief of staffy things, he's doing chief of staffy things quite clearly in support of Donald Trump's campaign effort. And under the Hatch Act, he shouldn't have been doing that. So not only, says Fani Willis, are you, not doing chief of staffy things, it's illegal for you as chief of staff, a federal employee, and it is, to be working on a campaign. So it's like the antithesis of doing your job as chief of staff. There's a law out there that says you may not do it. So that's going to be a very interesting, people hadn't thought about that before, and I think it's a challenge for Meadows to respond to. Now, this hearing coming up Monday is also going to be something. Willis has made clear she's going to call. It's an evidentiary hearing, so you take evidence, and she's going to call Brad Raffensperger to talk about the infamous phone call where Trump browbeats him for, I just need 11,780 votes. Meadows is on that call. And in fact, he's instrumental. He has other conversations with Raffensperger where he's trying, in his Meadowsy kind of namby-pamby way, he's trying to, do the boss's bidding and push on Raffensperger. That's now going to be entered into evidence, and there's going to be someone else apparently from the Georgia either Secretary of State or legal office. So Fani Willis is going to put him on and show he's not doing chief of staffy things. He's trying to push for improper criminal and in fact criminal, and that's what's been charged in RICO. So it's going to be interesting situation what Meadows even tries to do. And then, of course, there's now this Hatch Act, and he's got to somehow say that even though he's in rank violation of the Hatch Act, he's still doing his job at chief of staff. We'll see what he has to say, and we'll see what the evidence shows on Monday. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.